North-South Connection. Welcome to the most extreme menage a trois violence you'll have experience here on the Extreme Three-Way Dance. JT, Jenny, and Matt taking you through the history of ECW. Started in February 1994. We are moved our way all the way to March of 1999. We are moving our way ever so closely to the end of ECW and the end of this journey. But we're going to enjoy our final 18 months or so of ECW action that we have laying ahead of us, and hopefully everyone enjoyed WrestleMania season as well. North-South Connection, we had so much WrestleMania content. If you want to go back, a lot of it's evergreen. You can go back and watch it all, from tier lists to countdowns of the greatest performers, ranking all the matches. And this stuff's not going to end now. We're going to keep rolling on to whatever's next on our journey here throughout the world of wrestling and beyond. So subscribe on any podcast application for audio and subscribe here on YouTube for video. This podcast, like many, is simulcast on both. But we do have exclusive content in both formats. So just get subscribed, follow us on TikTok as well. And that way you don't miss the things. We've been doing some short content too. All right. All that aside, here tonight, guys, we're going to be covering the next 4 weeks of ECW television from March into April of 1999. Any thoughts before we get rolling?
We're no longer living dangerously. We're past living dangerously. We're getting close to heaven. That is of the hardcore variety.
So would this be the stairway to heaven that we're doing tonight?
Stairway to hardcore heaven, yeah.
Okay.
Or purgatory, maybe, depending on how these shows go.
We'll see.
That song, was it like DJ Sammy? It was like the remake of the Bryan Adams Heaven.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Ugh, I remember like the last few weeks of senior year of college, that was like the song that everyone was playing and like drove it into the fucking ground. I couldn't stand it.
It's very good though.
It's fine, but like I just remember the night before graduation, just trying to pass out in my dorm. Everything's out. Like I'm like sleeping on a futon on the floor, just trying to like get through this night. And then like the people like out next to us were up to like it had to be 2 or 3 in the morning, and they just kept playing that fucking song over and over and over on full blast. So whenever I hear it now, I'm kind of like done with it for the last 21 years, but.
I look forward to listening to it during this episode whenever you edit it right in.
No, that's fine. I don't want to get any YouTube strikes. Yeah, maybe after we'll play it.
It might be worth it though to hear that song.
Oh yeah, I think so. How about Los Lonely Boys? Is that the other heaven or the Los Lobos? One of them does that.
Oh yeah, Los Lonely Boys. Yeah,
Just Like Heaven, or is that Just Like Heaven?
That's the Cure.
That's the Cure. Locked Out of Heaven. That's Bruno Mars.
That's Bruno Mars. Heaven is a place on earth. You just go through all the heaven songs.
There you go. Any other ones? Highway to Heaven. It's a show.
That's the AC/DC song. Yeah.
Yeah. Heaven and Hell. Something.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, Heavenly Bodies. Gigolo Jimmy Del Rey.
Wow.
Dr. Tom Pritchard.
I just realized I didn't put my glasses on for this show.
Wow. Oh, you can't see Matt. That's why. Well, it's funny because before we started, you said my camera looked weird, but you probably just can't see.
That's probably a positive.
Yeah.
I like to wear glasses on the show for whatever reason as opposed to contacts.
It's the Dudley fan in you. You got to wear the glasses.
That's true. That's true. Yeah. Do you want to pause? I mean, we can break kayfabe for a minute. No, you want to pause and get your glasses?
I know you would hate that if I did that. So
I can pause it right here. Do you want me to pause it?
I'm just kidding. No, it's totally fine.
Well, or you can go get them, and we can just listen to the Heavenly Bodies.
All right.
See Matt do a little Gigolo Jimmy Del Rey impression.
Yeah. Yeah. Nobody.
All right, we're back. Jenny's got her glasses, as you can see if you're watching on YouTube. You didn't want to feel off. All right, let's dive in. March 27th, 1999. We open with a quick clip of Sid dealing with the Dudleys back at Living Dangerously. Then we get a slate hyping Hardcore Heaven, 1999. I'm not going to digress again, but on May 18th, we then get our opening animation. It's Just Like Heaven. Joey's in the nest. Thanks to all the fans for the support at Living Dangerously. Runs through some of the news coming from the show. Rob Van Dam's title reign is now in controversy after his match with Jerry Lynn. We have an undisputed ECW World Champion in Taz, who beat the FTW champion Sabu. We also see a cat fight that happened before the pay-per-view and talk about Sid's ongoing impact in the world of Extreme. We get clips of Sid destroying Nova, Skull Von Krush, Rugged Rod Price, and Chris Chetty during a recent match. Did you guys enjoy that beatdown?
Quite so. Yes.
Always. Rod Price still hanging around. God bless him.
Yeah, I feel like any time could be it for him. I feel like we're in the final moments of the rugged one, but we'll see.
Poor Chetty. He just exists to be destroyed.
It's fine. Fuck him.
Yeah.
I will agree with you, Matt. Like, I think Price definitely lasted way longer than expected for sure. All right, Paulie dangerously narrates highlights of Jerry Lynn versus Rob Van Dam from the pay-per-view. Joey's in the nest. He talks about the fallout from the TV title match and the controversial referee's decision, which we lambasted on a recent episode as well.
Yep.
Joey's in the nest talking about a recent match from the ECW arena that we're going to check out. And we rarely get a match on these recap episodes, but here we are filling some time with... It's kind of sad. I mean, we still have little Guidos doing that, but we've lost Tony Rich biting the thumb.
Yeah,
so we don't sadly get much anymore.
It is sad.
All right, that song can only mean one thing. It is time for the Italian tradition of the week. And today's tradition is actually a song. It's a very famous Italian song around Christmas. Not the Heavenly Bodies.
That's not one.
No. That's...
Hey, jingity jing, it's Dominic the donkey, jingity jing, the Italian Christmas.
Italian Christmas donkey.
This is what you're choosing to teach us for your.
Are you familiar with Dominic the donkey?
Oh, very much so. Yeah.
Jenny?
No.
You never heard the song Dominic the Donkey?
Well, I've heard it before, but I don't know what the deal is.
Well, it's a Christmas song written by Ray Allen, not that Ray Allen, Sam Salzberg and Wanda. I mean, it could be. I guess Wanda Merrill. Recorded by Lou Monte in 1960 on Roulette Records. The song describes Dominic, a donkey who helps Santa Claus bring presents made in Brooklyn, of course, to children in Italy due to the reindeer being unable to climb the hills. The song is re-released on Amazon in 2011. The spelling of Dominic was modified to Dominic with no K for the re-release. It's also included in the Volume 2 of the Ultimate Christmas album, released by Collectibles Record.
Can't reindeer fly, though?
Huh?
Can't reindeer fly, though? Like...
Well, it's too steep. Even the hills, they can't. They
can't
get.
Can't fly over the hill.
There's an updraft. There's an updraft.
What do you want it to keep coming back up and down the hill, flying up and down? That's a lot.
They're
of
not walking.
It's a lot of altitude. The song was listed number 14 in Billboard's bubbling under the Hot 100 list in December of 1960. It's not quite the Hot 100. It's bubbling under there.
Yeah,
bubbling. In the UK, the song was used extensively on BBC Radio during the 2011 Christmas period. So there you go. Song in length is 2 minutes and 35 seconds. Cover versions are out there as well by the Philly Specials, which I've never heard that version. We'll have to check it out. And of course, became a fan favorite of Jason Kelsey's. So there you go. Philadelphia legend himself. Mm-hmm. Reached number 14 out of the bubbling under 100 singles in 1960. Charted in Scotland at number 3, UK at number 3 as well. And of course, played in many Italian Christmas household party.
He's got a little friend, his name is Dominic, the cutest little donkey, you never see him kick. When Santa visits his paisans with Dominic, he'll be, because the reindeer cannot climb the hills of Italy. Hey, jingity jing, it's Dominic.
I told you, they can't climb the fucking hills.
I love it.
They can't climb the hills.
Appreciate the inadvertent Christmas anxiety. That's great.
Christmas in April. Can't beat it. I guess it is April. All right, here we go. Let's guide into our match, which is Little Guido taking on Yoshihiro Tajiri. The FBI come out to the ring. Little Guido, Tracy Smothers, and Big Sally Gratz do the usual dance routine. Tajiri stalks down to a pop, ready to wreck house. Guido is fired up. He's into Jerry's face. Joey hypes Guido's amateur background as we get going with a takedown and mat work. Tajiri reverses, drives Guido outside. He returns. We get some chain work. Tajiri works the arm until Guido forces a rope break. Guido gets back in the ring after regrouping again. Tajiri kicks him around into a full Nelson. Guido breaks out, but Tajiri snaps him over the German for 2. Tajiri cuts down Guido with a kick to the head. Guido counters a Rana with a powerbomb. Tajiri rolls outside, and Guido comes up empty on a plancha, slams hard to the floor. We go back inside where Tracy trips up Tajiri, but Guido misses an elbow drop and rolls out. Tajiri meets Guido and Smothers with a great somersault senton. He then drags Guido to the top rope and hits a superplex as we go to break. When we come back, Guido's clubbering and kicking away at Tajiri, who comes back with a spin kick for 2. Smothers gets on the apron. Tajiri drop kicks Guido and he bangs into Tracy, knocks him through a table. Tajiri then finishes Guido with a head kick and a vicious seated drop kick. And then Guido and Smothers shove and argue as Sal tries to keep the Paisans at peace. Fun match as you'd expect. Tajiri's just so good. The snap offense, the stiff strikes. Guido's a perfect foil. He can sell, he can stooge. He looks legit as he sells and works offense. And Tajiri rolls on. The FBI continues to have issues. It costs Guido. And of course, we saw Living Dangerously that they are done as a group in its original form, but this is kind of showing us what happened before the pay-per-view to set it up. So 2 3/4. Matt, what do you think of the match? And you think it's time? I know we talked about this a little bit at the pay-per-view, but kind of time for Guido to maybe run off with Sal on his own and break away from the chains of like the more comedic version of the FBI?
Yeah, so I like the match. I'm with you. I went 2 3/4 on it. It's a good match to throw on here. Like you said, we don't usually get any matches on these recap episodes, so it's cool that they had an ECW arena event, close to it, so they could have this. Not as good as the crazy matches, but still really good stuff. The kicks are just vicious. Good. That final drop kick he hit to win the match was disgusting. So, I mean, it feels like we're going to get like a Guido Smothers match at some point. So I think they should probably do that on like a random episode of TV before we move on. But I think have one match. We don't need like 5 matches between these two. Like do one and then that's it. Make the split happen. And I also think we're getting to be time. We got to start having Tajiri do a bit more too, besides these showcase matches too. Like they're all great, but it's time for him to get like a real storyline going here. He's been around for a couple months at this point, so it's time. But yeah, it's a super fun match. 2 3/4 for me, Jenny.
Yeah, I'm right there with both of you guys. 2 3/4 for me. A very international match. With these guys, and I was confused about the timing too, because I was like, I thought they already broke up and Smothers was already out of the group. So yeah, that was a little bit confusing on my part, but this was cute. I liked Guido, very hot-headed to start off, but then he wants to run out of the ring like the first half of the match, want to run away. So he jaws with the crowd a lot. How do you guys feel about that? Do you like that? I don't know. I find that it bugs me some.
That he scampers away?
No, that he jaws with the crowd too much.
Oh, yeah, it is a lot.
It's like
I don't mind it.
With it.
I know he's just trying to heat it up, but it'd be better if it's just kind of during the entrance and like introductions maybe, and then kind of get into it. He does do it a lot though during the match.
He does, and it throws me out of it because he's a good worker, and I like to watch him wrestle. So it bugs me that he tries to run away or focus on the crowd. But Tajiri is great in this. The kicks are awesome. Love his kicks. So smooth, impactful, and they tied it up pretty good. So it's and again at the end you get to see Guido and Smothers fight again. So I'm assuming this is the end again.
Yeah, well, I think again this was really pre-pay-per-view, right? So I think it was they're just kind of showing what happened to then lead to the breakup at the pay-per-view.
Right.
That there's another argument, but still, yeah, I think I agree with everything that we said. I think it's time for both guys to move on. I like Guido. FBI has had an awesome run. They've been some of our favorite stuff in this comedic format, but I think it's time to let Guido show off a bit. They're kind of focusing more on a hard-hitting, strike-based, mat-based style, and he's actually really good at that. And Sal's a good bodyguard for him. So I think the two of them as the FBI going forward is perfectly done. Kind of get rid of the stooging stuff and let him start to work a little bit. And Sal can kind of provide some of the BS. And then, yes, Tajiri also needs something more than what's going on with him. So. All right. Paulie narrates stills of Super Crazy versus Tajiri from the pay-per-view. Takes us to our next match, which is Super Crazy, taking on Antifaz del Norte. Antifaz is in the ring. Crazy heads out to a pop. Crazy starts hot with a spin wheel kick and then a nasty spin kick to the side of the head. Del Norte shoves Crazy to the floor, meets him with a somersault plancha. Crazy slowly recovers, comes back in with a springboard sunset flip. Antifaz lands a nasty chop at a springboard rana, keeps the pressure into a near fall and a sunset flip. And then he comes up empty on a springboard senton. Crazy meets him with a springboard frog splash for 2. Crazy hits a trio of moonsaults for a near fall, hammers away, knocks Antifaz outside, meets him with an Asai moonsault. Crazy slips off the apron. He's a little banged up, but he regroups as Antifaz takes a while to recover and get back in the ring. Antifaz gets a Rana into a cradle for 2, knocks Crazy outside with a drop kick, flies into him with a top rope somersault plancha. Del Norte decks Crazy as they get back in the ring, then hits a face plant on a counter. He chops away, buries some shoulders, but Crazy rolls him up out of the corner for the win. This is pretty fun. I mean, it's got some crazy shit as usual. It also has some oddly paced spots throughout it. Both guys kind of went with like the slow regroup multiple times on both ends. So not sure if they were really banged up or just trying to show it or pace it differently. I thought Antifaz was presented stronger here than he has been in the past, which was good. And the crowd really loved it. I mean, they were into it. And these guys always rock. So, I mean, this brought the heat, Jen. He went 3 1/4. To me, any combo of these guys and Tajiri and Guido, like they always seem to make it work, especially when the crowd is engaged.
Yeah, the crowd does love them, and Super Crazy in particular. I did 3 stars on this. I like the pacing, but it did tend to lead to some messiness. So there was some stuff here that, although I enjoy it, it's a little bit rushed looking in parts, and then also slow in some other parts. The moonsault into the first row was awesome by Super Crazy. Love that. And then those the 3 moonsaults that he got were awesome as well. The dives were all wild. Everything just has this like wild feeling to it with these lucha matches like this, Maddie.
Yeah, I went 3 stars too, and that was my main takeaway, was just kind of how wild it feels, like you said. I mean, these guys are just flying around the fucking ring, and you can see why the crowd is into it, because it's super fun to watch. Super crazy, you might even say, to watch. But and I thought the finish was a little weird too, with that roll up out of nowhere. Like one of the 85 moonsaults they hit in this match probably could have ended it, would have been better for me. But still, super fun. And again, another really good match to throw on what we usually get for a recap episode. So 3 stars for me on this.
Yeah, and I don't disagree on the finish. I guess the only thing you can say is it did help make Antifaz look a little stronger than normal. I feel like he's kind of been the job guy of this little group. So I think having him kind of go toe to toe and Crazy having to sneak out the win with a cradle or something, like I think that actually it helped. I think it helped Antifaz a bit here. So that was good on them to do that. Give him a little boost. All right, we get a clip of Jasmine St. Clair. She's naked with an ECW banner draped over her. We then go to the pre-show of Living Dangerously, where Jasmine hit the ring. Joey joked about her acting prowess. Lance Wright, of course, is in the ring with her. It says the fans may think he's back in ECW, but he's only here to be Jasmine's special guest. The crowd wants tits, and Jasmine asks if the crowd wants to see her naked and butt-ass hardcore and extreme. She counts down to getting naked, but just teases and stops as Mr. Wright mocks the fans, and St. Clair starts roasting them as well. She says she's the new queen of extreme and the hottest adult film star. Of course, Francine isn't going to take that sitting down. She shows up to a big pop, marches to the ring. Jasmine shoves her, calls her a douchebag, which made me laugh. And then Francine hits her with a stunner. Francine drops to her knees for Lance, who's stupidly enough expects something more than a low blow that he gets. So, Jenny, did you dig this segment? I feel like a Jennifer Smith segment right here.
Yeah, this was very much me. The delivery on douchebag was pretty great.
It was pretty good.
Yep.
She kind of hesitated before she said it. Anyway, if you pie face Fran like that, you're gonna get your ass kicked. So she did not enjoy that, but I did. This was great. Lance Wright getting kicked to the balls. I'm always a fan of that too. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this was fun. St. Clair, not a good actress. Holy mackerel. She says butt ass hardcore at one point, which is a thing that nobody has ever said. But
well, she has.
Well, apparently. Well, all right, one person has said that, but I mean, it was totally harmless and fine for what it was. Lance Wright got the shit kicked out of him, which is always the right thing to do, pun fully intended. But yeah, this was totally fine.
Yeah, I mean, she kind of sucked actress-wise, but like I thought she kind of got the business piece of it okay. Like she kind of got the heat magnet side of it. As we know, I mean, she ends up obviously getting involved beyond this in wrestling.
Right.
So,
does she?
Does she do more of this? I forget, Matt. I know she ends up doing.
I think she sticks
XPW,
around.
but...
She sticks around for a bit. I think she kind of comes and, pardon the pun, comes and goes. But
sir,
I swear I didn't mean it like that. Normally, I would say if I meant it in this way, I didn't mean it like that. Oh God.
I wanted to look real quick if she's still
Alive.
recent ECW. Oh,
Well,
she is still alive.
that's not a given either. To be fair,
It's really
We
not.
actually saw her in TNA, Jenny. Her early days of TNA Never Dies. She was on in July of 02. Did a
That does
striptease
sound
and then
familiar. Yeah.
got into it. Yeah, so she had a brief stint in ECW, also worked for XPW,
Mhm.
and then she would bankroll and help run 3PW with, of course, her longtime boyfriend, Jenny. Do you happen to know who that is?
Lance
Probably the
Wright.
most unlikely boyfriend. Is a wrestler be your boyfriend?
Haystacks Calhoun.
Fit Finley. I don't know.
The Blue Meanie.
Blue me. Oh, nice.
Blue Meanie.
All right.
Yes, they dated for a long time. I don't
Mhm.
think they're still together, but they had a long time relationship. Of course, Miss St. Clair, known for her appearance in The World's Biggest Gangbang 2, a 1996 sequel to The
Oh.
World's Biggest Gangbang. She's advertised as performing a record-breaking, does anyone know the exact number of sex acts with how many men in 24 hours?
Jesus Christ.
250.
I was thinking like
Okay,
one.
You go to over under 250.
I'm thinking under, but it's close.
It is 300. 300 acts with 300 men in 24
I was
hours.
gonna say, was the next question how many with a donkey?
Mhm.
She later discovered the video is one of the biggest cons ever pulled off in the porn business, with merely about 30 men strategically placed and filmed. Only 10 were actually able to perform on camera. So there you go. She was interviewed at the Howard Stern show along with Annabelle Chong, the previous record holder. She subsequently filmed a second gangbang movie in 1998 named Jasmine's Last Gangbang and continued to perform in adult films until 2000. And he guesses how many films she appeared in.
Oh God.
Ooh.
I feel like you could bang like 3 of those out in an afternoon.
543.
I was thinking,
No, way high.
That's way too high.
Way high.
Probably the
100
same amount of men, 250.
No, only
One-
73 titles.
Oh, wow, rarity. Wow.
Her career only lasted like 6 months, I guess.
But don't
Yeah.
forget, like, I feel like it's back then was different. Like, they weren't just scenes; they do like movies.
Mhm.
You know, so 73 movies is a lot.
Was-
There's
it
probably
was
a lot
more
of scenes
taste-
in the
it was more
movie. You know?
tasteful. It was more tasteful. Yeah.
Well, I don't know if I go that
Good old
far, but there's
days.
definitely more. Like a movie, one of the 73 titles may have like 6 scenes in it, right? So there could be a lot. That could be closer to your. Anyway, we're way
Right.
off the reservation here, but I will say she is a
Are we-
AVN Hall of Famer in 2011. So there you go.
See, it's Hall of Fame. Yeah.
Yes.
Is Pete Rose in that Hall of Fame?
She have an
I think she's
OnlyFans? Where are we at?
She may check it out. Just Incredible and Lance Storm versus Dreamer Douglas. We get stills from that match at Living Dangerously. Joey's in the nest. He rants about what we just saw, hypes the newest ECW magazine, which is a debut issue. Will blow away all the other magazines, he says. And we get some stills of that, as well as Sabu versus Taz. That's about it for this episode. Any thoughts before we get to our awards?
No, I mean it was pretty loaded for a recap show.
Yeah. And the magazine looked cool too. I will
Yeah,
say.
the magazine was cool.
Yeah. It definitely is one of our more bulky recap shows for sure. And with that came our best match of the night, which for me was Super Crazy versus Antifaz de la Norte.
Yep.
Yeah, actually, I think I had the other one.
Tajiri Guido.
No, I did. No, never.
Okay.
You're right.
Yeah, Tajiri Guido was worth, but even that was still pretty good.
Yeah.
Yep.
Best moment. There wasn't a lot here. I went with Sid, the clip of Sid destroying
Yeah.
Skull Von Crush and his boys.
I prefer
Anytime
the
I
brand
can-
moment.
Anytime I can give it to Sid, I will. So Sid gets it.
Most 90s, I went with our porn star extraordinaire, Jasmine St. Clair, as well as the ECW magazine.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, Stock Rising, I went Sid, Tajiri, Antifaz, and Super Crazy.
Yep.
And Falling, I went Chetty, Nova, Skull, Price, and Wright. Although
Everybody Sid destroyed. Yeah.
Yeah. Final grade, I went 6.5. I mean, usually we go like 5-ish on these, and I thought this one well exceeded a normal recap show. We told a little story with the FBI stuff. We got the cat fight. We had a couple matches. So that's what they did a good job interspersing the stills throughout that.
Yeah, I enjoyed this a lot, actually. I'm going to do 7 on it.
Yeah, I like this format more than just like pure recap when they throw some new stuff into. Gives you more to do. So yeah, I went 6.5 on it.
Okay. All right, let's go to April 3rd. Rob Van Dam, Sabu, and Fonzie are backstage. Fonzie rants about living dangerously, the controversy inside of it. He says Sabu lied. He said he was 70%, but he's only 40%, Daddy. He needs downtime. Sabu ignored everyone and wrestled anyway. And Fonzie's put him on the bench. I'm benching him. Sabu threatens to hit him, but Fonzie says he's quitting as his manager if he wrestles again. Sabu gives Fonzie his tag title and leaves. And Fonzie, he stresses me out. RVD says Sabu is upset because he dropped the ball and a few teeth as well. But not to worry too much because about his match, and he missed RVD's match, which was the best of the pay-per-view. And Jerry Lynn lost and got his ass kicked so bad, the fans are now calling RVD Mr. PPV. We get our opening animation off that. But any thoughts, Matt, on that little promo?
Boy, I mean, Fonzie's always on one, but he was really on one here.
It's only 40%, Daddy. Lost a bunch of teeth. Stressed out, lost a bunch of teeth. Benching you, Sabu.
Just fantastic.
Your Fonzie's great.
Thank you.
Little details in this. Sabu, when he goes to look up and do the finger, he can't even look up. He grabs his jaw.
Yeah, his jaw hurts too much.
Dying. But it's weird seeing Fonzie get in Sabu's face like that. You know,
Yeah.
he oddly grew a pair of balls for this little bit, and that was a little bit
For a while, apparently.
Fonzie standing up to Sabu like that. But RVD was great as usual. Now he's Mr. PPV, so I like.
I haven't looked to see if there is one out there, but someone needs, if there's not, do a compilation of all the RVD, Sabu, and Fonzie backstage.
Oh, that would be fantastic.
No.
Because I feel like that's the one of the things on the show we do not do justice is how good those are, because it's hard to mimic how good RVD is and his like sarcastic side comments. It's so good. We don't ever do them justice. They're well worth alone just checking those out, if anything else.
But even then, even after he says like the dickish things that he says, he's like, I'm just playing, like he's always like saying the next thing to like just get to the next joke. I don't know. He does
it's
so
perfect.
Well.
It's like flawless too. I don't know how many takes they had for those, but he was
right.
He's flawless. All right, Joey's in the nest. He sets up the night ahead. CyberSlam is coming this weekend from Philadelphia. Updates and results on the hotline and photos on the website. Afterwards, Joey says it's been 1 year since Rob Van Dam defeated Bam Bam Bigelow for the TV title. We get highlights of that from Buffalo a year ago. Joey then talks about the big tag match that happened prior to Living Dangerously, and they wanted to show it to us because they liked it so much. And that is Nova and Chris Chetty taking on Roadkill and Danny Doring. We join in progress as Nova and Chetty are on fire, cutting through both guys that bail out. Nova barrels into Roadkill and Doring with a plancha. Back inside, Roadkill and Doring get a heart attack on Chetty. Roadkill gets a big side slam on Chetty, tags Doring, who keeps hammering away. Doring loads Chetty up top, but Chetty knocks him back down. Doring dodges a Chetty somersault off the top, hits an impaler, goes up top, but misses a leg drop. Roadkill and Nova both catch tags and meet in the ring when Nova slugs away, hits a bulldog. All four end up in the ring and brawl as Nova gets to a neck breaker on Doring. Chetty hits a sit-out powerbomb on Doring and then bails out. Nova and Chetty go up top, hit a double-team leg drop, knee drop, and pick up the win. Pretty energetic little match, Jenny. Good vibe. All four trying to make the chance count for them, especially Nova, who's a wild ball of energy. And it really hyped up the crowd pre-pay-per-view. So good job for them. The low undercard has really risen in ECW. I think, and I went 2.5 of the match, but I think as the main event scene has lowered in profile, and it's not a shot on them. We just lost a lot of ECW stars, right?
Mm-hmm.
I do think what's helped is the mid-card and low mid-card have risen. So we've, instead of like the gap we used to have where it was like Raven and Sandman and Douglas and everything up here, and then a bunch of like real, like whatever, the not Brooklyn Brawler, whatever his name was, the Broad Street Bully. Like we had a lot of those guys, in JT Smith, like a lot of those guys in the openers. The mid-card, upper mid-card was always good with like the imports of like Benoit and Scorpio and those guys. But that low card was always like really low. And I feel like that has risen where even that low card has acts and feuds and stuff going on. And the mid card has gotten really good with like this influx of talent, like Tajiri and Super Crazy and Antiphaz. So they really kind of tightened the gap of everything. And that's how they've offset missing the big acts that they had at one time. Because we're really down to what? Taz, RVD, Sabu, and the Dudleys, like is like big names left.
Right.
I mean, I feel like guys are rising, like Jerry Lynn and stuff, but like right now, those are really our big four of like name stars that are still around. So
Yeah, and these guys, like you to your point, they're fun. This is a good match. It's
Mhm.
not some bullshit jobber stuff that we got for years and years. I really liked Nova in this match, and I thought Chetty was really good too. Fun spots. Even Roadkill and Doring, I thought were fun. Like they get it done, and they have some flair, right? They have some characters in here, not just some dudes. They're
Mhm.
actual characters, so that helps. And then the cool double team move to win it for Chetty and Nova, I really liked as well. So I like
Mhm.
the finish. And is this like tag development as well
Yeah,
for our
which
tag
would be
division,
nice.
right?
Yeah.
Something tag team related.
Because we don't have much in the way of those
No.
tags. So
Right.
I did 2.5, Matt.
Yeah, I went 2.5 on it too. It's a really fun match. It's cool that they show the dark match from the pay-per-view. That's a thing we don't see all that often, if ever. So I thought that was kind of neat. I won't lie, I was half expecting Sid to come out during this and destroy everybody when I
That's
saw this match
great
start.
point.
But I'm kind of glad they didn't. They gave these guys time because, to your point, we kind of need more tag teams. So let's give these guys some time to shine on TV and in front of a pay-per-view crowd. Doring and Roadkill at one point broke out the heart attack, which popped me. So that was fun to see. But yeah, it's a really fun match and a good spot for these teams as we start to build up some more tag teams here that we desperately need. So 2.5 for me on this too.
All right. Bloody Axel and Balls are backstage. They're ranting about being the originators of hardcore. And now everyone wants to be hardcore. In Connecticut, they have a hardcore champion using bags of flowers. They don't need a hardcore title to prove they're hardcore and buy a ticket to the pay-per-view to sit and see what they are. Joey's in the nest. He hypes up Cyber Slam. And then, by request of the fans, says Joey, we have the return of Pulp Fiction. It's been a minute since we've had Fiction here. Shane and Francine are backstage. Shane talks about his relationship with Tommy Dreamer, their history together, where they both earned everything they got in ECW. They take responsibility. Just Incredible and Lance Storm want to play mind games, but Shane has dominated ECW by being a master manipulator. Incredible and Storm have been a step ahead for the time being, but Shane has always been successful at the end of the war with his hand raised, not like the two pussies. He's never backed away from a challenge. When he faced Taz while hurt, asked Ric Flair or Scott Hall, he stepped up to them and said what he thought, and he was a victor. Storm Incredible wanted to rob him and Tommy of what they built, and Tommy was going to carry the franchise's legacy, but the Punks tried to steal it, and now they're in the frying pan. We'll see who stands tall at the end. We get super crazy talking some shit in Spanish in the locker room. We cut to the shower room where sign guy Dudley's putting up different signs, and then he switches to with Gertner, who says it's time for Gertner Vision, and he brings in the Dudley boys. Sign guy takes the camera. He's stammering around. Bubba says they got nothing left to do. They've beaten every team. They've challenged everybody in the world, and no one has answered, so they're just going to have to win the titles. But Van Dam and Sabu keep ducking them. They beat Balls and Axel. They beat Dreamer and his girlfriend. They'll kick Douglas's butt, too. And the triple threat's now a thing of the past. They are the greatest tag team in ECW history. There's nothing left. Gertner and Sign Guy hand off the camera. They say they have a man the Dudleys would like to meet. Steve Corino. Bubba mocks Corino's size, and Gertner says he has $5,000, and Bubba changes his tune. He's super nice to him. Corino says he needs a favor. He has $5,000, and he had a pay-per-view debut at Living Dangerously, but Balls knocked him out with a chair and embarrassed him, and it hurts, and he isn't hardcore. He's just a wrestler. Bubba asks how much he weighs. Corino says he's up to 205, and he's got $5,000 in cash if they knock out Balls and Axel. Doring and Roadkill are backstage elsewhere. Doring hypes up Roadkill. They stooge around. He's stressed by Super Crazy, who gets aggravated and yells at him in Spanish. We go to Jerry Lynn, who talks shit on RVD, says patience is no longer a virtue, and RVD saw that on March 21st. RVD got his hand raised, and he's not upset or pissed, but a sweeps week, and RVD lost the ratings war. Lynn is canceling his show because he's looking at the new effing show. Jerry Lynn, the Dudleys, Gertner, Corino, and Sign Guy are quietly huddling. They're planning and promising to get the job done. Corino then gives Bubba the cash and says he wants Balls taken out, and Axel in the process is a bonus. The group stalks around. They find him in the shower. They attack the Dudleys attack. They beat on Balls and Axel with a chair. They bloody them up. Bubba calls for Gertner. He comes in with a Diet Coke, and they leave some money for the hospital bills. Bubba says it's not personal, just business, and they all leave. We then go to Storm Credible and their crew. They're backstage. Storm says they paid the Dudleys good money to take out Dreamer and Douglas, and they failed. They want their money back. Incredible says, and we want it in U.S. dollars. Storm says they dropped the ball. So they did it themselves at the pay-per-view, and it doesn't matter who got pinned, but who was left standing, and Dreamer and Douglas were left playing. Watch the videotape. The new franchise of ECW is, and they argue over that. Storm introduces Beulah Bitch, who asks Tommy how he could let the Dudleys break her neck and leave her in a time of need, and rants at him for his actions, and she says she almost forgives him because she's on to bigger and better things. All right, that was a lot, Jenny, but any thoughts here on this Pulp Fiction?
I really love Shane and Fran. I love Shane talking about Tommy Dreamer and the history with Tommy. I thought that was great. Super crazy, just cutting promos in Spanish. Nobody knows what he's saying. That was kind of great too. I kind of like that they included that. I'm saying I don't know what he's saying because I don't speak Spanish. So obviously, I like Gertner Vision, even though it's horrific. I think that's a funny gimmick that they got going on. And then Steve Corino trying to hire them. I mean, we wanted the Dudleys to do something. Is this what we wanted them to do? Was to be the guys that are for hire for these pipsqueaks and for guys like benefactors like Mustafa and I don't know, like.
I mean, it's something if it leads to something, right?
Right.
Sure.
Like it could be a good angle that they get paid off, they piss off the wrong guy, then it becomes a feud, right? If you get to that, I think it's a cool means to the end. We'll see if it gets there, but
Yeah. I like the chicken plucker just screaming chickens. In case you forgot that he is a chicken
Amish chicken plucker.
Plucker. Yeah.
Do you think he can scale the hills of Italy?
Probably not.
Mm.
Jerry Lynn, always love a Jerry Lynn promo, and I like him calling himself the new effing show.
Yes.
And the attack in the locker room on Rotten Balls was pretty nasty, and then them throwing cash on them for their hospital bills was pretty great.
And the Diet Coke.
And the Diet Coke, and even the Beulah promo, I kind of liked. You know, she's full on delusional, just like Lance Storm and Just Incredible. So, this is a really good Pulp Fiction, and it was good to see it back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this was a lot. This might be the longest Pulp Fiction we've ever seen. It was like 15 minutes or so.
It was wow.
But it was good though. I mean, Shane was really good. How he says, you know, he doesn't like or admire Dreamer, but he can still stand alongside him. I thought that was great. Jerry Lynn looking like he just left a Ren fair or had like 20-sided die in his pocket was a hell of a look. Good Lord. Yeah, it was a hell of a thing. I like the new fucking show stuff. That's good to play off all the RVD stuff. Corino is great as just this whiny person who doesn't want to deal with any of the hardcore stuff. I just want to be a wrestler. Like it's perfect for that gimmick, and him having to hire the Dudleys is very funny to me. I'm not a wrestler, I'm not a fighter, but you guys are, so you do my dirty work for me. It's great.
Also, where did he get $5,000 from?
Where did he get $5,000?
Mr. Wright, maybe.
Oh yeah, Mr. Wright. Yeah, he does have money allegedly, but yeah, I mean, just it's a long Pulp Fiction. It took up a hell of a chunk of this episode, but it was all really good. So
yeah, I mean, you could tell these 2 weeks here that they're burning through whatever they had in the hopper from. This clearly didn't have like a real TV taping setup after the pay-per-view before they needed more stuff, so they're just kind of canning whatever they could and using that up. And yeah, I mean, Corino, fills that need that we've had for a bit here with no like Stevie Richards type character. We talked about this before, like just that kind of little, smarmy little nerd,
a slimy dirtbag type of heel.
Yeah, we've missed that for a bit here without Stevie being around. All right, Joey's in the nest. He says the main event for SummerSlam on Saturday is the Dudleys and Mustafa versus Rotten Balls and New Jack in a Gangsta's Paradise cage match. Will be filled with weapons.
Shit, that sounds awesome.
Mm-hmm.
We then head to the ring as we do have a match in this episode. It is Lance Storm taking on Tommy Dreamer. Storm and Beulah head to the ring. They are brimming with confidence. Joey clears up that his bitch is not Beulah and Beulah is retired. Storm says he was humbled at living dangerously and he should go back to Calgary, take more gas so he can carry Tommy's big ass and his own big ego. Sorry, hang on. I think I missed that. Storm says he was humbled at living dangerously because he realized he has limitations, even though he's from Calgary and in great shape. He's so talented that not even he could carry Shane and Tommy to a great match. Dreamer's music hits. He comes out and Francine is with him. Tommy gets the mic. He says him and Shane want it living dangerously, and that Storm should go back to Calgary, take more gas so he can carry Tommy's big ass and his ego. Storm attacks and slugs at him, pitches him in the ring. Tommy unloads on Storm and Francine, slides a chair in the ring. Tommy takes him onto it with a Russian leg sweep. Tommy misses an elbow. He bangs off the chair. Storm sets it up in the corner, but misses the charge. Tommy throws Storm off the apron into the railing. He follows out and shoots him into it. Storm crotches Tommy on the rail, slugs him down, and meets him with a shoulder tackle. After a break, Bitch trips up Tommy. Storm hits the drop kick, chokes Tommy with the chair. Francine hooks Storm's ankle, kicks him in the head, and Tommy pile drives him on the chair. Bitch makes a save. Francine is in. We get a cat fight. Credible's in. He runs Tommy into the chair. Storm covers and picks up the win. Credible beats on Tommy until Douglas saves and makes and cleans house. Credible then canes Shane very hard twice, leaves him for dead. And that is that. Not a lot cooking here. The crowd is into it. It had some wild energy, Matt. The anger is baked into the feud, and it keeps things rolling. I thought the match itself was kind of whatever, but the ending stretch was pretty good. I just ended up going 2.5.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I went 2.5 on it too. The match is ultimately secondary to the post-match beating. The cane shots were disgusting but credible. I thought that was my main takeaway. And I also thought Shane was not exactly moving around great when he was in the ring. Like it looked like he was kind of hurting me to see him move around.
He's been hurting for a while.
Yeah, I thought he looked pretty rough here, just kind of moving, or like it looked like moving around was a bit of a struggle for him. But yeah, I mean the match itself was kind of whatever. It was quick, but the post match was really good. So I went 2.5 on it, Jenny.
Look at there, 2.5 from me as well. You guys said it, but I like Tommy's confidence in this because, like, usually he ends up getting his ass beat, and he did here. But I mean, he controlled most of the match until the end. So I like Tommy in this match. I like the use of the women in it as well, and I want a singles match between Beulah and Fran. I don't know. I don't know if we'll get anything like that, but I would love to see it.
Singles are even more of a tag with the two of them. I don't think we've really had that yet, have we? Tommy and
I don't
Francine
think so.
or Shane and Francine against Storm. Yeah. So we're due for that too at some point.
Yeah, we need some sort of something with all the ladies in it, and so they could do more than just cat fight if they want to. But
right,
yeah, this was all right, decent, and just mostly for the angle stuff.
Joey hypes up CyberSlam, the main event, and says some new and old faces will be showing up at ECW, and also we'll get Shane Douglas versus Justin Credible. He hypes up the new magazine and vows it's the best, and he broke into the business working in magazines, so he knows what's good. Brings to our next match, Jerry Lynn taking on Tracy Smothers. Smothers has the Big Don with him. Split from Guido and Sal. Looks like they're claiming to be the real FBI now. Lynn back in action after living dangerously, and Joey reminds us that Lynn will take on RVD at the pay-per-view in May. Smothers takes Lynn down off a rich distraction. He kicks away. Lynn comes back with chops and a kick to the head. Smothers stomps away. Lynn gets 2 on a crossbody. Lynn hits a hard leg drop. He heads up top for a missile drop kick. Smothers bails out. Lynn meets him with a Pescado. RVD's music hits. He comes out with Fonzie. He gets in the ring with the mic. He says, Tracy, excuse me. And then he hits him with a Van Daminator. Rich gets in the ring. He yells at RVD. Sabu comes out and beats on Rich with a spike. Guido comes out. He brawls with Smothers, and Sal stalks out behind them. They put Rich on a table. Sabu puts him through with a leg drop. And then RVD and Lynn stare down. Not much of a match, kind of more of a segment, but awesome energy from Lynn. I mean, he was fantastic.
Yeah.
Here. The crowd is digging it too. Smothers is always fun. And I like the post-match with RVD and Lynn getting hyped. We get a big Sabu spot. I went 2 stars in the match, Jenny. And I feels like this was also writing off Tommy Rich and Smothers in a way too, because Guido runs them off. They get beaten down. They get humiliated. They get beaten with a spike, put through a table. Like it kind of felt like this may be it for these guys.
Mm-hmm.
I wondered that because I thought it was like just a random weird match. So I wondered if that was part of this as well. So I'm glad you said that. I like the pacing. Like they are nonstop, even though it's a short little match. They're going the whole time. Love the fucking Van Daminator on Smothers. That was sick. And they kind of left it on a little bit of a cliffhanger. So it was kind of an exciting ending there to the episode. And I went 2 stars on it as well.
Yeah, I went 1.5 on it. It was really quick for what it was. The Van Daminator fucking killed me. Oh my god,
love it.
Just
so awesome.
Excuse me, bang!
Excuse me,
just the best. Oh god, it was so good. Sabu on a mission to fucking kill himself. He's just gonna showing up and putting himself through things. His perpetually hurt jaw will never heal, and I did like you said, Jenny, the cliffhanger with RVD and Lynn. I thought that was a nice way to end this episode too, with them just staring each other down, with the crowd losing their minds. So, yeah, this was I only went 1.5 stars on the match itself, but everything they did here was really well done.
All right, let's get to our awards here to wrap up episode 2. Best match, I had Dreamer and Storm.
Yep,
I believe so.
All right, worst match, I just went the tag with Doring and Roadkill.
Yeah.
Okay. Best moment, I went with the Dudleys beating down Balls and Axel. Wasn't a lot to choose from here.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot to pick from that Pulp Fiction, because it was really good.
Yeah, there's some good stuff in there too.
You could just do that in general. That might be it.
Yeah.
Most 90s, again, I didn't feel like there was a lot here. I just went with the hardcore WWF hardcore title mention, beating guys with flowers and stuff. That was
I didn't have anything
hot around this time.
Yeah.
Rising, I went Nova. I thought he looked really good.
Yeah.
The Dudleys, Storm, and Lynn looked awesome in that last match. And then Falling, I just went Ron Balls, who took a bad beating, and then the old FBI, I guess.
Finally, they've fallen off.
That's it. Final credits went 5 out of 10. I thought this is kind of a whatever episode. It wasn't, even the credible Storm stuff was kind of down, which usually they're pretty good. So there wasn't a lot cooking in this one for me.
Yeah, it was kind of like, as much as I enjoyed the recap show, this one kind of fell off a little bit. So I did the 5 out of 10 as well.
Yeah, I went 5 on it, but pretty much solely on the strength of that Pulp Fiction. If that Pulp Fiction's not there, this is not a good one. So
yeah, no, that really carried the episode.
Yeah.
And then Lynn, I thought Lynn's performance too helped on top of it. All right, let's go forward a week to April 10th. We open up in the arena. Storm and Bitch come down to the ring. Storm has a WCW Chris Jericho shirt on, which is pretty funny. We get loud Jericho chants. Storm says they're all Jerichoholics because he's from Calgary, Alberta, Canada. Storm says Dreamer has been running his mouth, claiming that Storm's on the gas, which he assumes is an accusation of steroid use. But he gets his integrity from surviving the dungeon in Calgary and working his ass off in a gym for 17 years. Wannabe athlete couch potatoes at ringside can't appreciate it. And pseudo athletes that wrestle in t-shirts can't either. He stands before the fans as the best built athlete this side of a negative drug test, and he'll prove it tonight. Bitch pulls out a container of piss. Storm says it is a specimen sample, which he is willing to subject to drug testing, but he wants to know if Tommy would do the same. Bitch pulls out an empty cup, and Storm says Tommy was in good shape once upon a time. He doesn't even know a guy named Jim now, so he must be taking steroids. Storm says for Tommy to get his fat ass out here and prove him wrong. Tommy saunters out. He's going to smirk on. Joey says this is in poor taste. Storm attacks Tommy as Cyrus shows up and distracts him. Tommy comes back as a DDT. He grabs Bitch and takes a cup of piss, smiles, and pours it all over Storm to wrap things up. I like this segment a lot. I mean, Storm is awesome with his character. Tommy gets a laugh over him finally. The piss thing was funny. You could see it coming, but it was still really good. Storm is so good that it didn't matter that it was obvious. I thought he really, carried things on that regard. So I really like this Jenny as an opening segment.
I did too. I really did. Lance Storm is really good at just being an asshole, and he really, really heals it up in this. And Tommy, I'm just happy to see him get one over on these guys finally. And I wonder if that was real pee, Maddie.
Good God, I hope it wasn't real pee, because that's an international incident with.
Well,
Lance
this is
Storm.
hardcore. We don't fuck around.
I know.
Here, so.
My goodness.
No, in ECW, they probably said it was water, and then someone pissed in it and swapped it.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, like Shane grabbed it and just
There's a chance it's a rib. It was pissed.
Yeah. I did enjoy this segment too. It is interesting that this feud is basically based on whether Lance Storm is on steroids or not. I think that's an interesting wrinkle to it. Like, it's a wrinkle that it didn't necessarily need because of all the stuff with Shane, but it's interesting that they kind of shifted away from Shane and now they're kind of doing their own thing. So I think that's interesting, and it's very entertaining. Like, here, piss into this. No, I'm not going to piss into that. I'm going to dump it on you instead. It's entertaining. Like, it's entertaining garbage, like it's super fun to watch. So I enjoyed this a lot, and I'm looking forward to these two guys. Maybe they're going to have a piss on a pole match or something. That'd be interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, it's It's kind of timely, of course, with baseball. The steroid stuff was pretty hot at this time with McGuire and
Right.
Sosa the year before. So, like, that was pretty timely.
Mhm.
And it also allows them to take shots at, like, WF and stuff. Like,
Mhm.
Right.
the roided up guys, right?
Yep.
All right, we get our opening animation. Joey's in the ring. ECW Arena's red hot. He brings out Fonzie and RVD. We're hitting the 1 year mark of the TV title reign of RVD. Hypes up his reign, being Mr. PPV. Fonzie says he's picked a former TV champion and ECW tag team champion to be tough competition for RVD to celebrate. And out comes our old friend, Too Cold Scorpio,
Wow.
wearing his Job Squad shirt from WWF. Gets a big pop. Backstage, we see angry Sabu being restrained by a handful of wrestlers watching on a monitor. Of course, Fonzie benched him. Joey hypes up the VHS release for SummerSlam. And then we get to the ring for our match, which is Rob Van Dam versus Scorpio, who looks really in great shape. He's cut down,
Yes.
dances around the ring. He gets some loud welcome back chants. We go backstage where Paul tells Sabu he can't wrestle. He has to sit and watch the fucking show. And if he breaks free, all the other wrestlers have to put his ass down. We ease into some RVD strikes and counters and chain work. We get a Scorpio double underhook suplex. Joey talks up Scorpio's legacy and resume. Scorp then lands a stiff kick. The two trade some strikes into a tight RVD seated drop kick. Scorpio bails out. RVD pulls him right back in, cranks with a spin kick. Scorpio counters a whip. Now he hits a spin kick and follows a hard clothesline. Sabu's still struggling as Paul barks at him, tells him he's the booker. Sit and watch the fucking monitor. Scorpio lands a hard kick and a super back suplex. We keep cutting to Sabu. Scorpio gets a somersault leg drop off the top, hits a neck breaker. Backstage, Sabu's calmed down. He's listening to Cyrus. He says, Paul's not like Vince McMahon telling you what to do. Just do what you want. And I was talking to Fonzie. Fonzie wants you out there. Sabu tries to escape. We go to break. We come back. Sabu is out. He puts Scorpio through a table on the floor. That gets a big pop. Sabu's holding his jaw in pain as Fonzie's bitching him out. RVD shoves Scorpio in the ring, hits a slingshot leg drop on a chair for two. He lands some strikes, fights off some counters. Scorpio slips out of a power bomb, hits his own power bomb for two. Scorpio heads up top. Fonzie crotches him, prepares the chair for a super Vandaminator, but Scorpio crumbles to the mat. RVD goes up top, nails a perfect 5-star frog splash, and gets the win. RVD and Scorp shake hands, and that is that. That's just a great spots, but honestly,
Yeah.
The Sabu stuff kind of killed the flow for me. Like, it was real hard to get into it, and they kept cutting to him every fucking 30 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
I think a couple times would have gotten the story over just fine. It's always good to see Scorpio back. The atmosphere was great for his return. And I like this, we'll see what the Cyrus character is going to be. Right now, it looks like he's going to be kind of a, devil on the shoulder kind of guy, right? Kind of whispering in the ears and trying to stir up shit, a heat machine. It's kind of the way they're going with it. We'll see how that plays out. I went 3.25 stars for the match, Matt. Again, I think this could have really been better if it was given more time to develop versus being more of a backdrop for an angle.
Yeah, that was my main takeaway too. I only went 3 on. I went 3 on it. The Sabu stuff, like, you took me out of it. Like, I didn't mind it before the match, and if you want to do it like once at the very beginning of the match, it's fine. But if you're doing it throughout the entire match, it's only going to take me, with my fucking ADD, it's only going to take me out of the match. So like, it was way too much. And it was like the Sabu stuff when he interfered in the match was really good. Like when he put Scorpio through the table, it was great. But it was all the cut-ins and stuff. Like, I hated when WCW used to do that stuff with the NWO. So I mean, I kind of hated it here, but and they're capable of a better match too. Like, just let them have a match. They can go out there and have like a 3.5 star match if you just let them go out there and have one. But so I went 3 stars. This match kind of annoyed me, which is weird to say about a 3-star match, Jenny, but here we are.
I can't believe you got annoyed. I liked it. I liked the Sabu stuff. And then, number one, I got immediately wispy at the pop for Too Cold because everybody went nuts for him. And he looks amazing. So I got really in my feels about that. And this is a genius idea to have him come back and do this match. But to me, it makes sense to have Sabu freaking out in the back because usually during RVD match, Sabu is going to be out there, So it makes sense to me that it takes all these guys to hold him back. And then I like them kind of cutting back and forth between the match and Sabu in the back. But in the meantime, I thought the match was really good. I thought there was great spots, good pacing because Scorp looks crisp and he was hanging with RVD. Yeah, but I liked all of this and I did 3 stars on it.
All right. Steve Prazak is just incredible in the locker room. Incredible, so focused and angry, and he vows to show he's the next franchise. Joey's in the nest. He hypes up Cyber Slam and next week's show. Backstage, Prazak is with Francine and Shane, who says Credible will be the franchise over his dead body. Joey's recapping what we just went through, but he shoots us to the ring because Taz is stalking out to confront Steve Corino. Corino says he didn't mean for Taz to come out and says stupid things. Corino says he could face Taz in his hometown and choke him out in front of his people. But this morning when he was lifting weights, and Taz kind of quiets him down because we get Taz is going to kill you chance. Taz says you have 1 minute to make your point. Corino says he was lifting weights this morning. He had 480 on the bench press, and he broke his appendix. He'd wrestled Taz, but as soon as he's done, he has to go to the hospital and have both appendix removed. Corino says he has a plan. He asks the crowd to shut up because he has a substitute, the most underrated wrestler of all time. And he could beat Taz, but he always has stupid ex-partners ruining matches for him. But not tonight. Tonight he brings out Chris Candido to take his place. He comes out with Tammy, who is kind of hachi-machi next level. She's got a bikini and a sheer robe on. Looking unreal. Corino dances around as they get in the ring. Joey says they wanted to make an impactful return to ECW. We get a loud welcome back chant and show your test chant. As Candido gets the mic, he says, with all his friends from the internet here, it was appropriate to come back tonight, and he wants to put the controversy to bed. All his career, he didn't tap out to wearing a diaper, drinking a baby bottle, doing jumping jacks like an asshole, to alcohol, somas, or steroids, but he has respect for Taz. No way will he tap him out tonight. If Taz is a man and champion he says he is, they'll do it FTW style here. Falls count anywhere. So, Jenny, any thoughts on this promo before we get to the match and the return, apparently, of Chris Candido?
Well, I thought that Corino was hilarious in this because he called him Mr. Taz to start with. It was pretty great. And babbling about his appendix and breaking it and having a pair of them. And I'm surprised Taz even let him speak. I'm surprised Taz didn't just fuck him up. Like, I'm shocked he got any of this out. And Taz was going with it, so I was kind of surprised by that. But
Yeah.
I thought Chris and Tammy looked a little rough. Supposed to be a sort of triumphant return, but I thought, they had some wear and tear on them. Sometimes when people come back, they look healthy, and you can kind of tell.
Yeah,
but
no.
No, these two did not.
Well, they haven't even been gone that long either. So, I mean,
Right.
Yeah,
I love both of them, but they feel like relics to me at this point. Like,
they
Yeah.
do.
I mean, Sonny, time has passed. Candido, like, I don't know what more there is to do with him. Like, I'd say put him in the tag division, but we even did that. Like, him and Storm had that whole angle for a while. Like, I don't know. I just think I don't know what's left for him to do there at this point.
That's why I was gonna say it's good to see him back, but honestly, it feels like a step back. Matt.
Well, and who was like, I don't know, like, it feels like if you were there, it feels like kind of a weak surprise, I guess. Because it's like, all right, I don't know, like hasn't represented super strong, like he's really going to come in here and beat Taz for the title. I mean, it's like, so it doesn't even feel like, or it's not like a Scorpio level thing where it's like a big return.
Right.
Haven't seen him in a while. It's like a guy that was been off for a month and just been jobbing out anyway, comes back to job out again. So it's like, all right.
Yeah.
Right.
It's like get some super treat, I guess, I mean,
Right.
seeing Tammy is, but
I mean, I like the Corino stuff. Corino was awesome here. Like, it's bad enough to have one appendix removed. He had to have both of them removed. You guys.
both. Yeah.
I mean, both. That's Jesus. You break one, it's bad enough, but two, my God. So he was great. The Candido thing, like, it's an interesting situation because, we mentioned it earlier on this episode. They're not very top heavy. And like you kind of need somebody for Taz to face now that they've already blown off the Sabu thing already. So it's like, are you going to bring one of the lower guys up, or are you going to bring back a Candido who's a name, not necessarily like a main event name, but he is a name. And like, unless you're going to have Taz just destroy all the lower card guys, like I can see why they put Candido in this spot, I guess is my ultimate point. I don't necessarily agree with it, but I get it. So, I mean, because if it's not Candido, I don't know who Taz's next feud would be against. Because everybody else that's a big name in this company has some major stuff going on. Shane, Dreamer, RVD, even Jerry Lynn. So I kind of understand why Candido is in this spot right now. As rough as he and Tammy looked, I kind of get it.
Right. Yeah, I mean, they might just be running out of surprises too. There's only so many people left out there they could bring in, but Is what it is. All right, let's get the match after a break. Taz versus Chris Candido for the world title. Candido's chopping away. Taz twists that around, unloads a flurry, kicks Candido hard to the floor. Taz follows. Candido turns it around, slugs away, throws Taz into the crowd. Candido goes up. He dives into Taz with a wild dive, just a maniac. Back ringside, Taz lands a punch. He dumps Candido back to the fans. He slugs away. They trade blows. They wind through the crowd with Taz blocking a pile driver or the backdrop onto the steps. Back ringside, Candido throws Taz through a table, dumps him back into the crowd. Joey talks about Candido having a public feud with the internet fans. As Taz clubs Candido, throws him into a wall. Candido recovers, knocks down Taz, hits an elbow off the wall. After the break, we're in the ring. Candido gets a nice delayed vertical, follows with a diving headbutt for 2. Taz blocks a body scissors into a wheelbarrow suplex. Candido recovers with a slingshot back suplex for a near fall. Taz fights him off, gets a head and arm Tazplex. Candido's up first. He hits a powerbomb, goes up to load the bombshell, but Taz fights through it. It's a super head and arm Tazplex. Tammy gives Candido a chain. He hits Taz with it, but only gets 2. Candido slides a table in the ring, sets it up in the corner, but Taz reverses the whip, hooks a Taz mission, and puts Candido through the table with the Tazplex. Tammy's screaming. Candido's pointing to his neck. The refs stop the match. Refs and EMTs file in. They're checking on Candido. Joey reminds us Candido broke his neck back in 1996. Joey talks about him having issues with Candido in the past, but he had turned his life around, and now this happens. Candido gets stretchered off to a mixed bag of booze and concern and some fuck you Taz chants. Taz just shrugs, hops out of the ring, pulls Candido off the stretcher, kicks the shit out of him, and puts him in the Taz mission while he's in the neck brace. I didn't mind this match. I had a fun vibe. I mean, Candido, for everything we just talked about, does show up in these spots and does ball out. Taz was right with him. No long heat segment, just guys trading moves and big bombs, which really led to a pretty wild scene. I don't know if Candido is a one night in or if he's staying around. We'll see. But, you know, it's kind of a hot angle to enhance Taz either way with that beatdown. Candido left for dead. So I went 3 stars, Johnny, on the match. I thought it was good. And again, the crowd really helped enhance it here in the arena.
Yeah, you're right about Candido. Like, as much as I said about him feeling kind of stale, he is fun in the ring. He bumps around like crazy, and I like that this was Falls Count Anywhere. And so it got a good crowd brawl in there. They did a nasty T-bone Tazplex off the back of the bleachers. That was really cool. Love them going back behind the bleachers. I love that delayed suplex that Chris Candido is really known for. And yeah, just the bomb throwing was elite. Like Taz's title run is doing better than I thought it would, even though he's doing this with Chris Candido. So I did the 3 stars, Matt.
I went 3 1/4 on this. And to your point, I think this is more along the lines of the type of style that Taz is best at. Like sub 15 minutes, just go out there and have a fucking brawl and just throw bombs. I think this is more what I want out of Taz, is stuff like this where they can just, you know, Taz is throwing him with suplexes, Candido's throwing suplexes. So this is more what I want out of Taz title defenses. So I really enjoyed it for that. And the finish was nasty. Again, that suplex through the table in the corner is always disgusting. And I like the ref stoppage finish too, because it kind of, you know, protects Candido. Like, so I did enjoy that. So yeah, I went 3 1/4 on this.
All right. That's it for this episode. Awards, quick best match. I went RVD Scorpio, and then worst was Taz Candido for me, but they were close.
Yeah, I mean, I had them both.
Reverse it for me.
Yeah.
Best moment, I went Scorpio's return, and then Sabu's big leg drop was really cool.
Yeah, the pop for Scorpio was amazing.
Yeah, I gotta go with Scorpio.
Again, not a lot of 90s stuff. I just went with Sexy Sunny, I guess, showing up.
I only had Tommy Dreamer's fanny pack, which doesn't feel 90s anymore, but it looked very 90s on him.
It did, yeah.
Maybe steroids being a joke too.
Oh yeah,
congressional hearing that we'll get a handful of years later.
Yeah.
Stock Rising with Sabu, RVD, Taz, Storm, Dreamer. They're all pretty good.
Yeah.
And then Falling, get us some praise.
Carino, I would add maybe.
Oh, yeah, Carino was great.
You got to throw Carino on there too.
Yeah, praise that because my like Falling. He's just
it took him 6 weeks to get out that fucking question.
Yeah, he's kind of a mess.
He's awful.
Final grade, I went 7.5 out of 10. I like this episode a lot. There's a lot going on. Kind of comes up short of being like an all-timer because everything was just like really, really good and not great, but it was a lot of really, really good stuff. Like there wasn't a lot of anything bad really. It was all really well done. It was hot. The crowd was into it. The piss thing was good. Matches were good. So it was entertaining.
Yeah, good episode. 7.5.
I'm right there with you guys. 7.5.
All right, one more episode to go here. April 17th, 1999. We open with the closing of a messy war between the Dudleys and Mr. Mustafa against Balls Mahoney, Axel Rotten, and New Jack in the cage, where the Dudleys stole another win with a low blow on Balls. After the Dudleys escaped, Balls locked the cage. They put Mustafa on a table, and New Jack dove off the top of the cage and put him through it. And then we get just a long celebration, a replay after that, but just an insane spot. New Jack flying off the cage. I'm wondering if that's it for Mustafa. Again, I feel like a write-off of Mustafa to me.
Right.
Yeah.
They match, but they kick the shit out of him, put him through a table. So I feel like that could be it.
The ring was just littered with all kinds of shit. So I
Mhm.
really wanted to see this match.
Yeah.
Like,
and I don't think
quite
we're
a
going to see it
bit.
on TV, but if you get the VHS, you can check it out.
Yeah.
CyberSlam 99.
Check eBay.
I'll have to order that then.
Yeah.
Yeah, get a VCR too. All right, we get our opening animation. Joey welcomes us in. He sets up the night ahead. We'll get some highlights from last week, which are all available on aforementioned CyberSlam 99 VHS. All right, we have some banger potential here in our opening match, and that is Jerry Lynn taking on Yoshihiro Tajiri. Lynn's out to a big pop. We get just a great atmosphere during intros. We start with some strikes and counters. Tajiri hooks the leg, starts to crank away. Lynn escapes, twists back into a gory special. Tajiri slips free. Lynn gets a head scissors and a big back elbow. Tajiri bails out. Lynn meets him with a plancha. Just an insane pace to get going. Back inside, Tajiri gets a tarantula, pelts a back elbow to knock Lynn outside. And then Tajiri follows out, suplexes Lynn over the railing onto the front row of chairs. He meets him with an Asai moonsault. It's like, what are we doing? Tajiri rolls back inside, tries to suplex Lynn inside, but Lynn floats out and gets a Rana into a roll-up. Tajiri bridges out, gets a Rana for 2. Lynn counters again, gets a reverse DDT for 2. Tajiri pops up, kicks Lynn with a flurry to take him down. Lynn reverses a whip and nails Tajiri with a drop kick and lays in some chops. Lynn puts Tajiri on top. Tajiri flips him over and buries some hard kicks. Tajiri puts Lynn in the tree of woe, crushes him with a baseball slide for 2. Lynn blocks a superplex with a sunset flip powerbomb for 2. And then Tajiri fights him off, drop kicks a leg for 2 as Lynn gets to the ropes. Lynn fights up, hits a hard clothesline, and finishes the match with a stiff cradle pile driver. An insanely paced match, just manic. Big spots, a wild crowd. Both guys are awesome. They're the future of ECW if they stick around long enough. A hot opener that set the tone for the show and shows what these guys can do when you let them rip. And a strong finish, too. Just a dominant finish. They went 3.5. And that's only stunted due to the time. I mean, if we got more time, this thing could have really cracked 4 probably because they really go all out.
I had to talk myself down from the 4. I just fucking love Jerry Lynn. I'm going to say it every episode that we have Jerry Lynn. I love matches like this, and him and Tajiri they just knew what to do, and they it was so fluid and amazing. Like there was a little bit of this like nice messiness in it where it felt like a fight and not just an exhibition, which some of these matches can feel that way sometimes. So it felt more like a fight, which I really liked. I love the new effing show chants that the crowd rains down on Jerry Lynn. He deserves it. Like, this is great. He deserves all the love. He deserves to have awesome matches like this. Good near falls in this. I was afraid that it was going to be a draw is how good that it was going. And I was like, oh my God, I don't know who's going to win this. Please don't let them have a draw. But then Jerry Lynn pulls out one of my favorite moves, that cradle pile driver, and fucking crushes it to win the match. 3.5 stars. I loved it.
I went 3 3/4 on this because holy shit, like they just balled out for like 10 minutes and it was just incredible stuff. Like two guys who know what they're doing. The pace was ridiculous. Lynn at one point hits this like reverse gory special where he's carrying Tajiri on his back. It was fucking ridiculous. Might have had the sickest kicks we've seen out of Tajiri yet. Just the snap they make, it's just so brutal and nasty to hear. Lynn hits a running power bomb at one point. That was awesome. The cradle pile driver was great. Just a sick finish to a great match. great back and forth action. The crowd was nuts. So, and like you said, JT, the only thing that kept this from going 4 stars plus was that it was kind of sprint, because it had to be on a hardcore TV. Like if this is 15, 20 minutes, this is probably like 4 stars plus at least. So I went to 3 3/4 on it.
Yeah, I'm hoping we get another, match between these guys too. So.
Please.
Oh yes,
please.
many more.
All right, we stay in the ring here. Super Crazy takes on El Masco de la Merced. Crazy hits the ring to a big pop. Mosco's awaiting. We get going with a lockup and a Super Crazy arm drag into some chain work. Crazy bails out. Mosco teases a dive. He pulls back and resets. We get another flurry to a stalemate as Joey says this is Mosco's first match in the United States. But Joey Styles, you are wrong, my friend, because as someone who does a Monday Night Wars podcast, I can tell you El Masco de la Merced was on Monday Night Raw in March of 1997. So schmuck you, Mr. Styles.
Wow.
Mosco misses a charge. He dodges a Super Crazy charge and Crazy wildly flails to the floor. Mosco meets with a punch off the top rope. Crazy recovers, a hot shots Mosco on the railing, dumps him into the fans, meets him there with a springboard moonsault. Crazy hammers away, shoves him inside, follows a slingshot moonsault for 2. We get another one for a near fall. Moscow gets a boot up on a charge. He gets the top rope Rana that sends Crazy outside. Moscow leads up and follows a slingshot somersault plunger, lands hard on the floor in a nasty spill. Back inside, he puts Super Crazy on top and gets a springboard Rana for a near fall. Crazy rolls outside. He catches Moscow on a charge. He hauls him into the crowd and then barrels into him with a moonsault off the railing. After a break, Moscow hits a corkscrew splash off the top for 2, kicks him hard in the back, tries a moonsault. Crazy gets the boots up, crushes him with a powerbomb for 2. Crazy goes up, but he's slow, so Moscow grabs him into a sunset flip for 2. Crazy recovers, gets a tilt-a-whirl backbreaker, and hits a frog splash to win the match. Right on par for what you expect. A wild pace, big bumps, a rabid crowd. Moscow showed well, even if he felt a quarter step behind Crazy, but that's because Crazy's just next level. It's hard to match him in anything. Really fun battle. The ECW is just owning this right now, this upper mid-card, due to this influx of talent in a shift in direction. Like, we have gone hard pivot from a lot of we still have the garbage violence, but this world they built inside of that with, it's kind of in the Benoit, Malenko, Guerrero vein, but it's just so much faster paced and hard hitting and
Lucha.
It's mixing, but we saw some of that too with like Ray and Psychosis. This is like elevating all of that up into this like just world that only really exists at ECW at this time. Again, they're ahead of the game. You're not seeing this on WCW or WF. You're getting a lot of cruiser stuff on WCW, but like this is a different level of stiff offense cruiserweight, not just like crazy dives, that you would get a lot on Nitro. What'd you think, Matt?
Yeah, I went 3.5 on this. Just 2 guys just not giving a single shit about their bodies, just throwing themselves on top of one another, and the crowd, like, good Lord. I mean, they're just beating the hell out of each other. And I like that Crazy has been winning all these matches differently. We talked about a match earlier where he's winning with a sunset flip. He's won matches with the moonsault before. Now he's winning with a frog splash. So I like that too, that he has a couple of different moves that he's been winning these matches with. So that's good, I think. But man, they're just flying around the ring and it's awesome to see. It's super fun. So 3.5 for me. Just, the power bomb Crazy hit near the end of the match was just disgusting. Back of Moscow's head just hit the back of the mat. Just brutal stuff, great stuff, just wild. So 3.5, Jenny.
Well, as somebody who has a lucha-based podcast, my love for this lucha style has really grown, and over the time of we've been linking up luchas, and so I like seeing it in the arena here, and it has that hardcore edge to it, so it kind of makes it even better for somebody like me to combine these styles. But it's just so fluid. The dives and the landings, just next level agility from both of these guys. They look great. Like, I love the colors. I know that's random. I feel like Schiff saying that, but I love the colors in this one. But it was nuts. And then there was moves that Joey didn't even know how to call. He called something a 450 splash with a twist because he didn't know how to say it right. But that's when you know you're having a banger of a match, when Joey Styles can't even call your moves. So I did the 3.5 as well.
All right, so here's the Moscow's 2 WWF matches so far. He might have more than 97. This is where I'm at. On the March 24th episode from Rockford. It was a Venom, Supernova, and Discovery versus El Mosco, Hysteria, and Abismo Negro. And then the next week from Peoria, he took on Supernova in a one-on-one match. So there you go.
I'm sure that went over big in Peoria. Peoria, big fans of Lucha.
Loves Lucha.
They love the Lucha.
They love Lucha. All right, we get a recap of the Storm Dreamer piss incident from a week ago, and that brings us to our next match, which is Shane Douglas taking on Justin Credible. Big time match here as Credible and his crew hit the ring in this war to determine the franchise of ECW. After break, Shane and Francine are out. Shane talks with the history of ECW, how Terry Funk's job 6 years ago is to make him the franchise, and everyone that walks through that door is a notch in his belt. If Credible thinks otherwise, he has another thing coming, and he tells Credible to step to him. Credible does. Shane slaps him. Credible grabs the mic and says he's not backing off. Shane's an old man, and that Shane says, time for war. The bell rings. Both guys slug and chop away into a Shane series of rolling verticals and a gore buster. Credible's rattled as Shane hits a reverse neck snap into a break. When we come back, Credible slams Shane off the middle rope through a table, hammers away, stomps away. The crowd is all over Credible as he chokes at Douglas. Credible's woman, still unnamed, gets a choke in as well. Credible lays in some chops. Shane tries to fire back, but Credible knocks him down with a super kick for 2. Credible slams Shane, hits an elbow off the middle rope for 2, goes to a chin lock. We get some loud Sid chants. Shane fires out, gets a sunset flip for 2, and Credible meets him with a lariat. Credible dumps Shane outside, follows out and spikes his head off the apron, runs him headfirst into a steel beam. Shane is bleeding as Credible scrapes and claws at him, shoves him back inside. He keeps pounding away. Shane chants fire up from the crowd as he tries to slug back into it. Credible drops down, goes low, goes back to a chin lock. Credible sets up the table in the corner. Shane counters, slams Credible through the table to a big pop. Shane hooks the figure 4, but Credible's woman comes in. She goes to the eyes. Francine's in. We get a cat fight. Credible grabs Francine and turns, and she eats he eats 2 hard cane shots from Shane. Credible dodges a 3rd. He unloads 3 vicious shots to Shane. Shane ducks the 4th. He takes Credible down with a spin kick. Shane canes Credible in the face. Jason and his humongous neck brace come in. They kick Shane low, grabs the cane, but Francine spears him. She goes to cane Jason, but Shane stops her, hooks Jason in a full Nelson, hoists him, and throws him hard to the mat. Credible then nails Shane with a super kick. Francine canes Jason. Credible covers, but Shane hangs on, gets a Thez press and a flurry of punches for a near fall. Credible gets 2 on a roll-up, hits a stunner to Booze. Credible goes up top. Shane catches him into atomic drop, hits a Pittsburgh plunge, and gets the win. Storm is in. Him and Credible overwhelm Shane. They beat him down with a cane. Dreamer's in. He gets caned as well. Storm and Credible use a trash can, and Credible grabs the mic to brag as Cyrus gets in the ring, smirking. So pretty hot close here to this episode and a really fun match. Some great heat. The story was there. Shane works so well as an underdog face. It's something we haven't seen a lot in ECW. Really, I mean, really. Shane worked hard to get Credible over. It bled. He sold. He was moving well, maybe better than he has in a while. He looked okay here. The finish was a surprise. I expected Credible to win for sure with some kind of chicanery, but he looked strong even in losing. And it looks like this feud will roll on. So Jenny went 3 1/4 stars, and this one really surprised me. I was not expecting this at all.
Boy, I was happy to see this match. I did 3.5, another 3.5 star match. We were on a roll for this build. So I loved the promo. The pre-match promo was really good. And the slap to the face was excellent. Love to see Credible just get fucked up. And then the just an asshole chants always popped me too. They worked hard, but boy, they were both sucking wind too by about halfway through this match because it was a nonstop. Shane hasn't moved this quick in a hot minute. So, and Credible's definitely right there with him every step of the way. But they have great chemistry. I love the use of the women again in this match. And then Tommy Dreamer coming out to get his ass whooped. That's the only thing. If let them win the match without getting their ass whipped, and I know it's part of the story, and you're supposed to do that, but
yeah, that's how they
just
keep it
once,
going.
I would like to not see them.
Well, Tommy did get to throw the piss on Storm last week, so he did
Yeah, he did. But still, that's different than like clutching your balls in the middle of the ring when Credible and Lance Storm are standing on you. That steel beam or whatever that he just Incredible picked Shane up and shoved him into it, busted him all open. That was sick. That was awesome. I love that spot. So yeah, a hell of a match, Maddie.
Yeah, I went 3.5 on it too. Definitely, I think the best Shane has looked in a while, compared to how he looked in that previous episode we talked about where he could barely move. A total 180 from that. But yeah, really fun match here. The press slam that he threw on Credible in the corner was sick. Just again, a lot of great spots here. Shane looked really good. I too was surprised that Shane won, but they got their heat. Credible got his heat back afterwards. So, and obviously the feud in theory is going to continue. We'll see, but yeah, another great match on this episode. We're on a roll, like Jenny said. So 3.5 for me.
All right, let's get to our awards. To wrap things up, best match of the night for me was Lynn and Tajiri.
Yep.
Yeah, I had a bunch of same grades, but I'm gonna give it to the win.
Worst match was Crazy Moscow, which was still really damn good.
Yep.
Yeah. Yep.
Most 90s, again, we've kind of in a rut with these. I wouldn't do Jack diving off the top of a cage. It's felt like a 90s thing to
That
do.
is 90s.
Yeah.
I don't think I had anything.
Rising, I would New Jack, Lynn, Tajiri, Crazy, Douglas, Credible.
Everybody.
everyone.
That's a lot.
Falling, I guess, with Mustafa. I mean, it felt like this was it for him, probably.
Yeah.
And if not, he looked like a bitch. So I don't know. Great, I went 8.5. That's a great episode.
Yep.
You know, a really strong episode. Some great in-ring action, some hot storyline stuff. CyberSlam seems like it was a great show in whole. We get to see a lot of it over the last 2 weeks. So to me, this was a really strong one to close out this episode for us.
You know what? I'm gonna say fuck it and do the 9.
Yeah, I went the 9. Fuck it 9, like Jenny.
Fuck it 9.
All right. Very good. All right. That'll do it for us here this week. We'll be back in 2 weeks. We're going to do another 4 episodes of TV as we're moving toward Hardcore Heaven. I want to thank you for supporting us as always. Be sure to subscribe, like we said, on YouTube, on a podcast feed, on social media, TikTok as well. We have a lot of cool content. And again, thank you for the love. Recently hit a milestone on YouTube. We cracked 500 subs, which we're super proud of as we continue to grow there. So thank you for all the support. Continue to share and subscribe and tell everyone about us. We'd appreciate it. Also, continue to live your life extremely extreme. Talk to you in 2 weeks.